Hey there everybody, this is Caitlin here, and welcome back to our Force of Will Legacy Lost preview articles, or our spoiler articles. Today we are looking at Lumia, the Fated Rebirth, who is essentially going to be our light fire ruler. I was, when I initially was predicting what rulers we would be getting in the set, Lumia was one of my first picks. I did feel like, obviously, she's been shown a lot in the trailer art and whatever. I had a strong feeling that Lumia was going to be one of our new rulers, and it looks like I was right. Lumia is going to be one of our new rulers. So, looking at her, she's got gorgeous artwork, obviously, because she's grown up a bit. She's certainly changed quite a bit from her Grim Cluster appearance anyway. Her judgment is 3, just like the other ones that we've seen so far, which is 1 light, 1 fire, and 1 void. She's got energize, of course, for light or fire will, and she has this gimmick where at the end of your turn you can remove target rested resonator you control from the game, then put it into its owner's field. So essentially, it's like people have been calling it like a flicker ability. So the potential for this ability is actually quite insane when you think about it. Like, think of how many things can trigger when they enter the field or whatever. They don't necessarily need to be standing up. They can be come back into the game or whatever, but it's just this ability can greatly be abused, and already people are thinking about ways in which you can abuse this. If we go into the next slide, you'll probably see a bit more. We got Lumia, Saint of the Crimson Lotus, which is quite a funny name actually, but I digress. I like Gnarltip just chilling in the background there, being all evil and stuff, but hehehe, we've partnered up now. I actually like the little bottom bit where it says, I never thought I'd borrow your power, but I'm counting on you, Crimson Girl. So I'm guessing Lumia is borrowing the power of Gnarltip here or whatever, or channeling the power of the Cthulhu or something like that into her sword. Her sword looks pretty epic, but she enters as a 1000, and she has swiftness, and she has this quite big text bubble, so let me get through it or whatever for you. As this card enters your field, you may remove a card named Gnarltip, the Crimson Radiant, in your hand from the game. This card gains imperishable, and when this card deals damage, you gain that much life, as long as the Gnarltip is removed from the game by this card. And whenever this card attacks, you remove a target resonator from the game, then put it into its owner's field rested. So it's kind of almost the same gimmick, but it's only when Lumia attacks, which it's quite insane actually when you think about it, because obviously it's coming into the field rested, but think about, say, I know people were giving the example of having Captain Hook in the field or whatever, but obviously you'd need to run 3 colours if you were going to have Hook in there. But if he entered that turn or whatever, well, actually no, he wouldn't have to enter that turn, but say he was on the field or whatever, he'd already done his thing, then you could remove him from the game and then bring him back. He's still entering the field, so he's technically going to trigger his ability and whatnot. Sure, he's going to be arrested, but your opponent can't really do much when they're like, oh, I need to get rid of another 2 cards or whatever, we'll put them back to my hand or put back some special magic stones. But I think this ability is quite good, and I can think of all kinds of scenarios whatever where you could abuse the remove from game then put it back in the field, say life gain would be incredible for this, obviously, and then hard removal would also be good for this. I'm trying to think of any other enter abilities that would be pretty good. Not off the top of my head that are fire and light, but the ones I'm immediately thinking of is the Last Soldier of Gloria, or that where whenever it leaves or enters a field or whatever, it you gain 700 life. It's when it enters and when it leaves, so that's pretty insane. Next up, we've got Gnarltip herself. Let me show you my true power. Hehehe, it's no lie. She's a 2-cost 7/7. She's 1 light and 1 fire, which seems pretty broken, but considering she's got limit 1, I think the main reason that you'd probably be running her is so you can obviously discard her or whatever, remember from the game when Lumia is flipping. But she's got 2 awakenings, which are pretty cool. I like this. I think I like the second one more, because the first one is for light, and when this card enters your field, you can remove a target resonator from the game. When this card leaves your field for a non-field zone, put that remove card in its owner's field. So considering she's only got limit 1 and she doesn't have swiftness, she will probably be leaving the field pretty quickly. I feel if you are playing her to the field, she's not sticking around for very long. So that first awakening probably isn't very good, which is why I like the second awakening a bit more, which is a fire one, which is when this card enters your field, you may play a light or fire chant with total cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its cost. I'm thinking Flame King Shout here. Come on now, let's get the massive fire dragon in, for nothing after playing another resonator. At the end of the turn, if there are no limit counters on this card, it returns to your hand. So basically, if you block or if you attack with it, essentially you're gonna lose it that turn, but it's going back into your hand, and it only costs 2 to begin with. So it's a really good card. I'd say you're more likely going to be discarding it than anything, but I do like the second awakening ability, which would be insane to use with Flame King Shout and the Ultian Fire Dragon. Next up, we have a chant, which is a it's technically a 2 cost, but it costs a bit more. So it's Lumia's Judgment. It's 1 light, 1 fire, and an X, and you remove all non-Magic Stone, non-J Ruler cards with total cost X or less from the game. Now, essentially, people are like, oh, well, what good is this? Well, think about it. If you pay nothing, you can remove tokens. Like, technically tokens don't cost anything, so if you paid like 0 for the X, you're removing all tokens, which is kind of insane. I mean, at the same time, I think you would also have to remove Regalia or whatever that costs 0, like say Bow or like Excalibur, Levantine, so you need to be careful with that and make sure that you're not running 0 cost Regalia, or you're not playing this when you have 0 cost Regalia out. But either way, it's a good way for removing tokens or whatever, like say if you're up against Feasting, or potentially the new Valentina with her fantasy tokens and whatnot. So it is like a pretty good answer for it, which I quite like. The next one we have is Crimson Ray, which is a quick cast 2 cost, which is 1 light and 1 fire. This card deals 600 damage to target player or slash resonator. You gain 600 life. So basically, it's like a step up from a Lightning Strike, or yeah, it's Lightning Strike, isn't it? Or Demon Flame. Basically, you're dealing 600 and you're gaining 600, which is pretty amazing. And it's like a helix of hope and despair. And I totally love the card art for Lumia there. She looks pretty epic. I love it. Now, this card is fun and games here. It's Priest of Divine Protection. She's got some mad mental hair going on in the background. She's a 3 cost, 1 light, 1 fire, 1 void for 700. She has quick cast, which immediately makes her like really awesome. Not many resonators have quick casts. I mean, I think the only ones we have so far was Glorious and Melfi. There might be another one, but I can't remember off the top of my head. When she enters the field, if it was played from your hand, remove another target resonator you control from the game, then put it into its races. So again, this is another flicker ability where you can abuse the heck out of, say, the last Glorian or whatever, I can't remember its name, the one that, you know, the one I explained previously, but this is insane, and it's only a common, so imagine like having 4 of these already. Like, it's pretty crazy. Next up, we have the Magic Stone, which is Awakened Magic Stone, the Earth, which I think is, it says in the description there, a former regalia recovered from Lapis, now purified as a Magic Stone by Lumia. So this is Alice's Earth, I believe. I think this is Alice's Earth as we know it, because that's the one that Lapis took. So Alice's world is saved by look of it. Obviously, Alice is still out of action right now, so we don't know what's going on with her. If your ruler isn't Lumia, then it enters the field unless you pay 300 life, pretty standard. Treat this card as a light magic stone and a fire magic stone, produces light and fire. And when you do Judgment of a light ruler, recover this card. So this counts for Lumia because she's part light, which is really insane. So basically you're getting the stone back. So basically if you do Judgment that turn, or deactivate, whatever we're calling it now, I'm pretty sure it's still Judgment, you basically get the card back. So you don't need to worry about not being able to call a stone that turn, because you've got that stone back, which is pretty amazing. And considering that she only costs 3 to flip, I think is really nice. But I think I'm definitely going to be building Lumia. Like, I'm thinking of all these ways that I can abuse life gain and stuff, so that I can like ramp up my life while my opponent is just like, you know, can barely scratch me or something like that. There are obviously other ways that you can like abuse the flicker ability, like I said, with like Captain Hook and like some other cards and whatnot, but I think with these kind of dual color rulers, I'd be more comfortable just sticking to their dual colors. I don't want to start doing like 3 or 4 colors for them, just because, you know, there's like some gimmicky things you could do with it, but you know, it would get pretty complicated. You'd probably have to end up running Ruler's Memoria if you really wanted to run like 4 colors or whatnot, and I think that would just be a bit too confusing. But all in all, I'm really happy with the light fire ones, and I'm definitely thinking of building Lumia. So all in all, I'm thinking of building Lumia and Valentina so far. So where next one is, well, I need to figure out when I'm recording the next one, because my schedule's kind of been all over the place with things going on in my home life and stuff like that. So this may be going up later. I'm not too sure when it's actually going up. But until next time, guys, I will see you all later.